Oh, now I got it.
Now we're in business. Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to this little session that I wanted to do with the lovely Paolo Rigo from Studio Rigo and on about taxes. And before you fall asleep, this is going to be really exciting because taxes doesn't need to be boring. And taxes in Italy, wow, let's just say it's a minefield and something that you really need to ensure that you're getting the right type of advice. And Paolo has been a pinnacle part of our business to giving advice to expats. Actually, this morning, I was talking to some good friends of mine, Heather and Alex Guidice, who were singing your praises about how easy you are to work with. They love your approach. They love how empathetic you are. And they love your tax fiscal brain about how you think of things and how you see things. So this is exactly why it's a great time to talk about all of this, because it's coming up to tax season soon, like to be filing tax returns, everything like that. So this is a very, very good time to do that. And thank you for giving us your time, because I know that this is your busiest time of the year. So, right. So I have prepared some questions for you that I think is going to really, really help people listening about taxes in Italy, not just buying property, but also about dual taxation, all this sorts of good stuff. So let's get stuck into this. First question, when do you need to pay taxes and how do you do that?
Smart question. And by the way, before we jump into the questions, let me say that you're making my day with all these compliments.
And I forgot to say, share a bit about yourself before I get stuck in. Please tell a bit about yourself before I get stuck into the questions.
No problem, no problem. Well, my full name is Paolo Rigo. I'm CEO and founder of Studio Rigo in the old 2007. I'm an Italian, as you can tell from my accent, international tax expert. I'm certified by the Chamber of Commerce. I'm official consultant for the local court here in Verona. I'm a teacher, I'm an author, I'm a consultant for embassies and consulates from all over the world. And I could say I am the main tax reference for a lot of expats communities in Italy.
Yes.
And however, I like to call myself, I don't know if it makes sense, a creative numbers man, as we try to teach people how to make a living in Italy, in this case, balancing money and happiness, mixing our knowledge, our mistakes, our expertise, our experience, giving you something you can easily understand and hopefully you can apply.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Exactly. I love that.
So when to pay taxes? Well, first of all, the main question should be, do we have to pay taxes?
Unfortunately, yes, we do.
I would say it depends. First, you have to file your taxes and then see if there is any difference to be paid. Well, we'll discuss about that. And this is not an easy question because, in Italy, you're required to pay taxes twice a year. There's no unique deadline like in the US or in the UK. The first round takes place by June of the following fiscal year, in which you become a tax resident. So using, let's say, 2023, okay, as your first fiscal year, if you move in the first half of 2023, we're jumping to June of 2024, so 1 year. By the end of June of 2024, you pay your balance taxes for the whole 2023 fiscal year, plus, and please never forget about this, okay, the first round of taxes in advance on account for the current fiscal year, so 2024 in this case. So moving to June of 2024, you pay 100% of balance of 2023 plus 50% of 2024.
Yeah, I hate that part.
I know, same here. And it's not done yet because by November of 2024, still talking about 2023 as fiscal year, you must pay the second round of taxes on account by 2024. And by taxes, of course, we're talking about income taxes, financial or passive income taxes, and the wealth tax. Mm-hmm. Plus, if you run a business, if you're self-employed, Social Security.
Yes. Every time I see the subject title F24, and I'm like, oh God, what's next?
It doesn't give you good chills, right?
It gives me, it terrifies me.
Stay away from it. Don't share it. But
taxes, you got to pay them because, and I actually have a very good philosophy towards paying taxes. I'm grateful that I pay tax because it means I have a business.
Well, I agree with you 50%. The
Oh,
remaining 50%, I say there must be a perfect balance between what I pay for, like, you know, in your daily life, what you pay for and what you get. If your community is serving you well, if let's say the municipality is efficient, if the services are good, you're willing to pay with a smile on your face because you see clearly what the output is, where the money is located.
agreed. But I live in Martina Franca, which is a very, very nice part of Puglia. So I can't complain at all on that part.
Great. And please remember this for all the people that are watching this video. Please consider the quality of life when you pick the city.
100%. 100%. I always say this as well. It's like if you buy somewhere that's cheap, everyone's got a budget per se, you know, but cheap doesn't represent value all the time. You know, you might find something that's cheap, but you live badly. And at the end of the day, it's just not worth it. Yeah, 100% agree with you there. So, and how do you deal with dual taxation for expats? I mean, this is a question that I get asked a lot, and I'm like, I'm not the accountant. Go and speak to Paolo.
I think it's a common fear because you know how the rules work in your home country, but there is a big question mark in the country of destination. In this case, it's Italy, but it could be Spain, Portugal, whatever. And when we talk about, you know, taxes and expats in general, the biggest fear is having to deal with two countries at the same time, you know, or using different words, feeding two countries on the same income, on the same assets. How can you afford that? So, and this is a legitimate situation, it's a legitimate question. What happens when you have a country of origin that clearly claims you as a tax resident, and then the country of destination that are both shaking you for your money? Who comes first? Do you have to pay twice? And just to give you an overview, because I'm not 100% sure that the country where you're coming from is part of this agreement, but since the late 80s, the majority of the countries in the world, I'm talking about hundreds, okay, signed an international agreement with a common goal of avoiding dual taxation because it wouldn't be fair. We can agree on that. And the common sense is using mutual taxes as credit against the total due in the other country. So if you paid in country A, you can offset taxes in country B.
Okay.
And of course, there are exemptions. Every income and asset follows a different way to estimate the total credit given. You know, generally speaking, an agreement, a tax agreement, is between 20 to 30 articles long. So it's not just one only.
Great for if you got insomnia.
Yeah. And they love to use, you know, complicated words. So you have to take the meaning out of your expertise and your knowledge about the international agreements in general. It's not that easy to be read. But you know what? I'm confident enough to confirm that the majority of the times when people move from other countries, tax-wise, this move is not that painful as it seems to be.
Okay.
Because, for example, if you move from the UK or from the United States, where this is the majority of the clients we have, they come from, they actually have to pay a lot of withholding taxes in their home country. And if you apply the same rate, the Italian rates on the gross, and we offset the taxes already paid there, very often there is nothing to pay as difference.
Okay. Good. Very good. Now, property taxes. This is a question that comes up a lot because what I hear from people that contact me in the from the States, that they could pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every year in property taxes. And one of the questions is like, okay, so if I buy a property in Italy, that's not going to be my main residence, so they're going to be generating an even tax every year. What does that look like? And then, you know, how do they calculate that? How is that all done?
It's kind of funny because every single time I hear this question, I'm very tempted to say I have no idea, because that's the truth. But as a professional, I have to hide behind something like, well, it depends, it's complicated, you know what I mean? So okay. we must first of all, we must split between property taxes on Italian real estate and property taxes on foreign real estate. Okay, because for foreign real estate, we're talking about the wealth tax, but I don't think that this is the matter.
No.
On the Italian real estate, well, if you own a property in Italy, and of course you buy it depending on the percentage of ownership, because for example, you buy it with your spouse, so you have just 50% of that. And it's not used as primary residence, so you haven't moved your tax residency yet. You have to pay a percentage, not on the property value. This is where the complexity comes into play, but on the so-called cadastral value. And this value, basically, it's an invisible value given to you by the municipality based on the location, based on the square meters, based on the quality of the furniture, for example. And usually you have to pay something like 1% maximum per year. And listen carefully, for the current fiscal year. This is an exemption here in Italy because usually you pay taxes for the previous fiscal year.
Okay.
So from the day you sign the contract, you sign the purchase contract onwards, you have to take care about this fiscal obligation. And by the way, don't forget to pay also the garbage tax.
Oh yeah, the tari. Yes.
Yeah, the tari. We love to use IMU tari. I don't know. They don't call it just garbage tax. And something that can probably help you out and give you some peace of mind. You don't have to hire a professional right away to estimate the property tax.
Okay.
This is a very common mistake that I see around. People panic. They say, I need to find a commercialista. I need to spend money to hire someone. Hold on, pull the brake on.
Okay.
A lot of municipalities have an office dedicated just to give you the estimate of the total due.
And they send you the bill, or the bill comes?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't send anything automatically. Remember, we are in Italy. We're very old style. You have to do your due diligence, but just drop an email, okay? Few sentences to ask them, what is the total due for the property tax for the current year? Can you please deliver the F-24 form in my mailbox? And if it works, you save a lot of time and money.
Could they get the F-24 form emailed to them?
Exactly.
And then they can pay it online?
Yeah, you can pay online. You can you can take the hard copies to any post office or bank office, whatever works for you. But at least, I shouldn't say that because I run a tax firm, but you know what? If you receive this F-24 directly from the municipality, there is no way that you receive a wrong one. Does it make sense?
Yeah, well, they're not going to undercharge you.
Yeah, for sure. They're not making a mistake. Yeah, there must be correct.
Yeah. Okay, this is helpful because this is something, it's just, you're right. A lot of people think, oh my God, I need to get a commercialista. I need to, this going to open up a can of worms. And they get, anytime someone puts tax and Italy in the same sentence, it's like, it's almost like the shivers go down the spine and people get terrified, but it really isn't as hard as it comes out to be. So I would love you to tell us, what are the top 5 common mistakes people make when filing and paying taxes?
Just 5?
Yeah, probably 500.
Well, I'll tell you what, recently I can tell that clients are getting creative about making mistakes.
Okay.
I don't know if their fault or if because they're, advised in the wrong way from other professionals. I don't want to know the reason why, but I'm really astonished by the quality of mistakes that come up recently.
Wow. Like?
Well, like they make a mistake about filing a tax return using a wrong fiscal code.
Okay.
Or let's say they pay taxes for someone else. Let's say I pay my taxes for my wife. But it doesn't work this way. I mean, you have to go with the rules. You have to go by the book. You cannot invent rules. You know what I mean?
But if someone is listening and wants to pay my taxes for me, please contact me at email address. I'm going to connect with you. I'll send you all the F-24s that you need.
Yeah, or well, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. Of course, the main goal, I don't want to hide it because I'm a tax professional, but also I'm a taxpayer myself. And the dream, there's no shame about it, is to pay as less as possible.
Of course.
Yeah, let's be honest about it.
In a legal way.
Of course, in a legal way. That's the problem. At the same time, I like to use this metaphor. It's like going to the doctor and asking him the quickest way to lose weight. because it's the summer season. You want to look good when you go to the seaside. And maybe the quickest advice is, well, stop eating for a week and get your goal done in 1 week, right? Yeah, clearly
it took just a week. That's the problem.
Yeah, stop eating, stop drinking, and you will see your belly fat going away.
Yeah.
But what in the long run, what are the side effects of starving?
Malnutrition.
Yeah, that's the problem. So in order to be compliant with Italian rules and avoid spending a lot of money, because once again, there must be a balance. First of all, please double check. You can prove anytime, anywhere, your expenses, source of your income, and deductions by official documents in case of audit.
Okay.
When you file your taxes, a lot of professionals are, I can say, lazy. Okay, they say, okay, don't hassle me with with foreign documents written in a language that I don't understand. Just give me the numbers.
That's
okay. But what happens if you receive an audit and you don't have the documentary evidence to prove that you incur in that expense?
Of course.
They will cut it off, and they re-estimate the total bill plus fines and penalties. So never trust the tax professional. Okay, wow. Even though I'm one, I don't get offended. Second one, well, of course, clearly pay your taxes on time. Your taxes, okay, not taxes of someone else. Don't skip a deadline, even though, very often you just have to declare a foreign bank account. They're paying 34 euros for that bank account. Or maybe because you just have to file a nil tax return confirming that you're not a tax resident anymore. File it. Don't be lazy.
Yeah, because it's going to catch up with you at the end of the day. And it's not like you could say, oh, I didn't understand. I don't understand Italian. They don't, the Argentine Trata don't care if you speak Italian or not. They just want to be paid.
Exactly. That's easy. But this is the same if you go into the IRS, if you go to any foreign revenue agency. They just want you to pay what is due. That's it. And when it's due. Then I would say, well, never, and this is very common online because, I use Facebook too, so I'm guilty. And never accept any advice starting with, this is the only way to do this, or your only option is X, Y, and Z.
Oh, yeah.
Because in Italy, it's plenty of different tax benefits for expat moving to our country. And the goal is not to learn what one alternative is to planning on different alternatives.
Yes.
Because if you have alternatives, you have the chance to learn how rules work. And then, who knows, maybe you will find possibilities that were not clear at the very first look. You have to understand the rules before starting playing the game.
Sure. 100%. And getting advice from someone who is a professional is key, because this happens a lot in these Facebook groups, that someone will post a question on something and there could be 50 responses, most of which are not the same. And it's like, hang on a second, all of a sudden, yes, it's great to educate yourself, it's great to learn, but all of a sudden people are getting advice on really delicate matters where they have no qualifications to give advice, like something to do with tax or legal or anything like that is a minefield. And having that specific advice by someone who's qualified to give it is crucial, because otherwise you could really get yourself in the poo.
I agree with you. And also would like to share something very important for all the people listening to us right now, is to never compare to others, because very often people like to share bad experiences. They like to scare other people because probably they made a mistake. But if they made a mistake, it doesn't have to be 100% the same situation for you. So detached for other people's experiences, because you are unique. And this is a very good thing about the civil law that we have here in Italy.
The what, sorry?
We have the civil law, not the
law. Okay.
The common law, like in Australia, in the UK, and the US. So forget about everything you know, or you think you know. Start from scratch. Italy is, it's fascinating. We have pizza, pasta, amazing places, but we are an old country. Slow processes. We have our own regulations, maybe nonsense. Okay, I can say that. We have different deadlines, rates, tax bases. So start from scratch. And people assume, this is something that I see on the daily basis. So I'm 100% sure that I'm saying something that is correct. People assume that something works here in Italy simply because it does in their home country.
Oh God, yes.
Or simply because they say, oh, yeah, I know what you mean because I heard about it in my home country and this is the way it works there. Okay, there.
There, yeah, and you're not there anymore.
Yeah, you're a brand new life here. And yes, as you just said, my suggestion, but not because I don't want to, pump my own interest. Okay, this is not a goal, but hire a professional in any matter. Okay, in the real estate, in the law field, in the tax field, because I'm not saying you have to engage the best top class fancy jiu-jitsu international tax firm. Okay, that's not the goal, because maybe your situation is less complicated than an average one. Just find someone that, first of all, you can trust, that is able to welcome you and explain things to you like you were an 8-year-old kid.
Oh yeah, you need it like proper tax for dummies, really, like this.
Yeah, just like that.
Step by step, 100%.
And give you, I like to call it like this, a survival kit, at least for the very first year, just to understand the rules. It's an investment for your health, for your time.
It
and
is.
Of course, there are a lot of professionals out there. And believe me or not, I'm the first one suggesting to hire different professionals if you're not a good fit for you. But just shop around. It's your due diligence. This is part of the process. Moving is not bringing, luggage or items from a whole country.
Yeah.
It's all about doing your due diligence, because this will impact a lot on your finances in the long run.
100%. And I can't agree with you enough, because due diligence and also expecting the unexpected. You've got to expect that everything here is completely different from how it works in your own country. And I find it baffling sometimes that people would come and move here, or buy here, not necessarily move here, but buy property here and follow advice from people who haven't even worked in the industry or haven't got a qualification. And it's like, and you're dealing with a transaction in a different language with so many nuances and so many things that can go wrong. And it's like, I don't think these people would buy properties in their own country without taking advice from professionals. So when it happens here, I'm always like, oh God, I'm going to pray for you. I hope it goes well, because I see so many things on the daily, and I'm like, wow, when you think you've seen it all, there's always something more. So going to that, please share with us some tax secrets that you cannot find on the internet.
Well, legal or illegal?
I don't know.
This session is recorded, right? Okay, I wouldn't say tax secrets, but it just, keys or lens to read the information through. In general, we are in 2023, about to jump into 2024. We have the artificial intelligence almost taking charge in our daily life. So internet is everywhere. It's like the fast food. You get what you want fast and easy. You get advices from all over the people without even asking for advice. Yeah. And Italy is the place of everyone. Literally everyone can share advice, like you just said, and claim he has the ultimate trust and wise answer to your problem, even without asking you what the symptoms are. Sure. Like the doctor give you, we need to operate, without making any question. It doesn't make sense. But please, this leads to a lot of, misinformation and misgivings and mistake. So just to give an example, tax rates, okay? It's very easy to compare tax rates because we're talking about numbers. 7% is a bargain compared to 23 or 43%. Sure. But what happens if I tell you, you have to pay the 7% on top on foreign taxes, and the 43% here in Italy is gross, and we can offset 42% of taxes already paid in your home country? What happens now?
Sounds very interesting.
The 7% looks more horrible. So tax incentives, tax treaties, and so on can reduce your taxable income almost to zero. So for example, using still numbers, 20% of 1,000, it's 200. I'm talking about 20%. But this can be more expensive than 50% on just 200. It's twice as much.
Okay.
It's all about doing the math. Like I just said, explaining things at an 80-year-old kid.
Yes. Totally.
And a lot of people, I see this is another thing that, people are very tempted to follow, is taking advice for someone who did the same thing years ago.
Yeah.
Based on the feeling that, he's like me, is coming from let's say from the US, is getting Social Security, is like me. So his solution must work on my case too. How can you be so sure about that? Would you take an average pill simply because someone else is telling you, oh, it's working on me, take it?
No, especially it's not a one size fits all scenario. There are so many variables. So many variables. Yeah.
Yeah. And stay away. Well, really, I'm killing my own business selling this, but stay away from YouTube as much as you can, unless you know that the source is 100% valid. Because you can find people sharing advice, okay, how to pay 1 or even 0%, like tax haven, move here and stay away from taxes. But no one is telling you how to manage a tax audit when someone rings on your door.
Course, all of a sudden, where's the advice on that? Where's the YouTube video for that?
Yeah, in the meantime, they closed the channel and they're left with the bags full of money from the links, from the clicks, and from the viewers. Exemptions can make you eligible or not eligible for some tax benefits. Even at the first look, you fit all the requirements. Last week, I got in touch with a client, and it was about the regime impatriati, the 90% off. He was 100% sure that it was eligible for the benefits because based on the checklist, it was able to provide anything his side. So we started an engagement with let's say, with the promise, with the goal of getting some money back. Okay.
Yeah.
But we always say, okay, this is the goal, but please share this documents list so we can be sure. What happens is his employer made a mistake and now he has to pay money.
Oh, no.
I'm sweating because I have to tell him, you know what? Remember the 5,000 that you're waiting as reimbursement? Well, you have to pay twice as much now.
Oh, jeez. No. Oh, dear.
This is what happens when you overthink it and you think that you know the solution.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I can tell you is probably something that works for every professional here in Italy. It's kind of funny because expats know that every single time a professional here in Italy hears some different accent or different language, they're starting to, to think like, oh, I can charge you 4 times as much, like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can squeeze them because they're desperate. And gurus in any matter, in the real estate, in taxes, in the law matter, very often keep on repeating to expats, we are the top firm. We're the top class. You cannot find anywhere else more experience than here. We are the most important, but they keep on trying selling you something. And this is very annoying from my side. I cannot stand it. So if you want to hire someone in the tax matter, in the real estate, in the professional matter whatsoever, trust your guts. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. And I think as well, it's about the energy of the person.
Yeah.
Like when I have clients contacting me, I don't always work with everybody because I feel the vibe of the email when they message me. And when I dig deep and I want to know more about what it is they're looking for, why do they want to buy in Italy, what are their objectives, what's their dream, and the way they describe what they're looking for or not is my deciding factor in saying, let's have a call to discuss if we can work together, if it's a good fit, or sorry, it's I'm really haven't got the capacity. So I would never take on a client if I didn't feel that I want to be cheering them on at the very end when they're signing, when they're at the notaries with the estate agents signing the deed and, celebrating with them in their new home. Like it's a journey. And the same with you as well. It's a journey that you're on with these clients. It gets so personal because when you're talking about you're opening up finances and, people really share. And if you don't have that feeling with someone, it's never going to work. So you can always be saying that you're the top this and top that and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it's about who connects with the person. What's the energy between the two parties? Do they feel like it's a good fit? That's always the philosophy that I have.
I love your words. I like to share something with my clients usually, and simply because you're a lady, okay, I'm a gentleman right now. I'm calling you a lady. Hope you don't mind. It's not a bad word. But when you go shopping, okay, if you need a pair of shoes, how many pair of shoes do you need to try before deciding?
For me personally,
Yeah.
I'll see something immediately and I know if it's for me or not.
Oh, you have the feeling like in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Okay, you're very lucky. In my personal life, I at least I need to try 5 to 10 pairs
Mhm.
because I can compare. And I invite people to do the same with professionals.
Yeah.
And this is not a bad thing, okay? You have the right to choose whoever is the best fit for you.
Yes, 100%. Because you want to make sure as well that they feel completely confident in working together and calm and relaxed about what's going to happen, the process, everything like that, and and not feel like they didn't have any other choice. Yes, 100% agree. 100% agree.
The last thing that I can share with you is, of course, I wouldn't say it's a secret, it's a recommendation.
Okay.
The several countries that are part of the tax agreement also share a lot of information about taxpayers every year. So once you get your fiscal code, you're under the tax radar. So they already know in advance how much you have, how much you're making.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, don't try to be the smartest guy in the room. Never try to hide anything. What you can do possibly is to speak with the tax consultant, because everything that you're sharing with the tax consultant is 100% confidential. Mm-hmm. Just ask him, I have this, let's say, it's tiny bank account in the US. I have this small superannuation retirement account in Australia. How can I treat it the best way, the best tax way possible? Mm-hmm. This is the question. It's not hiding that. I'm not talking about that. It's like the elephant in the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not living like pretending it's not there. It's like, oh, there's an elephant in the room. You have to talk like this. It diminishes the power of the elephant.
Sure, you're right. Yeah.
That's
You've
it.
reminded me about superannuation in Australia now. I have a fund that I haven't even tapped into because I left so many years ago and I don't even know what I can even do with it. I have to look into that.
No problem. Feel free to let me know when we're turning this conversation into the professional advice, okay?
Thank God. Thank God I'm not of superannuation retirement age yet. Still drinking my white tea, making me
You look 40, come on.
44. 44. God, honestly, thank you for being with us today, Paolo. This is really, it was a very real, I told you it wouldn't be boring, guys. We had a few, threw a few jokes in, make it relaxed, but you know, obviously the crux of the, you know, the concept here is when it comes to taxes, you need to get professional advice. You need to really know what you're doing, and you don't try to cut any corners. It's just not worth it at the end of the day. You don't want to be, you know, having your aperitivo thinking you're living La Dolce Vita, and all of a sudden the Argentine Trate comes up, pulls up a chair and puts this massive, you know, fine in front of your face. I mean, that's just not a good thing.
Well, always. In order to enjoy something, you have to be 100% present and then cherish its moment. This is the goal. And like you buy an insurance policy to stay away from health risk or to stay away from car accident, just think about hiring a professional the same way.
Yes. 100% agree. So thank you so much again. I will put your contact details underneath the video when I post it onto the website. And if anyone wants to contact you, they can do so. You've got a fantastic team that supports you as well. Always responding very, very quickly. Yeah, you've built a very, very highly service-based business, and with so much, you know, attention to really helping expats really living out their best lives here in Italy, not even if they're just living in Italy or even if they're, you know, investing in Italy. So again, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Okie dokie. Thanks, guys.